Secretary of the Organization of African Trade Union Unity. Sir, you welcome. Once a comrade, forever a comrade.
Thank you very
so
much.
You are still one.
I'm still one.
So how do you feel now at 81?
Yeah.
If you are still a comrade in doing those things that you were doing in the days of your...
Well, trade unionism is always in the blood.
Okay.
Because, see, once you are a trade unionist, it's very difficult to leave that vocation in defending the rights and interests of workers and people. You have to live with it and die with it. There's no question that you abandon it even after you have retired from active unionism.
Okay.
Even now, I'm still more or less, I'm one of the veteran leaders of the Nigerian Labour Congress that are consulted, as and when due by the current leaders of the Nigerian Labour Congress. I'm also one of the trustees of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and at the continental level of the Organization of African Trade Unity level, I'm also consulted, once in a while as the need arises, to give them advice from the experience I gather for over 20 years as Secretary General of Organization of African Trade Unity.
That's great.
From 1986 to 2012.
Okay. So how did you get into trade unionism?
By chance.
Let's see how chanceable that chance is in quote.
First, I used to be, when I was at the Yaba College of Tech, I was the secretary of the Muslim Student Society of Nigeria, MSS of Nigeria. I was the branch secretary for about 4 years. I later became president of the Student Union, Yaba College of Tech, and president of National Association of Technological Students, which is an umbrella for all the colleges of technology and polytechnics in Nigeria in 1966-67. And I was on in-service training from the Federal Ministry of Works at the Yaba College of Technology. So on finishing my HND in civil engineering in June 1967, I went back I was posted back to the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Works in Lagos at that time. And 1 month after that, I was elected secretary of the Association of Technical Officers of the Federal Ministry of Works, which is an umbrella association for all categories of technical officers, from assistant technical officer in training to the pinnacle. That time was a principal technical officer. Now they can rise up to a chief technical officer in the ministry. So our first task as secretary of the Association of Technical Officers was to ask us to, as two of us, to set up a committee, about 3 of us, to compile the list of grievances of all categories of technical officers working in the Federal Ministry of Works. So we did that for about 11 months. So by November 1967, we submitted this request to the grievances to the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Works, was then the late engineer S.O. Williams. So in January, the ministry called our association for negotiation. So the industrial relations officer of the ministry, at the beginning of that negotiation, asked whether the Association of Technical Officers was a registered trade union or an affiliate of a registered trade union. The answer to both questions was no. So just asked the farm secretary that it was also necessary to waste the ministry's time in negotiating with us, because we are neither a trade union, the association was neither a trade union nor affiliate. That was how we were asked to go around, 2 of us were asked to go around all the registered trade unions at that time and recommend to our association which association, our union, and which our union should affiliate to. That was the incident that made a trade union out of me. So when we went around, we got in touch with, we recommended the Public Works, Aerodrome, Technical and General Workers Union, which was being led by, as General Secretary by the late Comrade Wahab Goodluck. So we affiliated to, that was in April 1968. And then immediately we just, I remember, just need to sign a check-off form belonging to the union. Just 69 of us initially signed up to be affiliates of the members of that union. And then Wahab Goodluck wrote a week later to the Ministry of Work asking for a union management meeting, informing the ministry that the Association of Technical Officers have now taken up membership of the Public Works, Aerodrome, Technical and General Workers Union, and as a result of which they would like to discuss the 10 grievances that they wanted to resolve through collective bargaining. That was the incident that made 18 years happened.
And your rise in trade unionism, how was it like?
Okay. We formally affiliated to Public Works, Aerodrome, Technical and General Workers Union, led by Wahab Goodluck, in April 1968. The following year, 1969, the union went for its triennial delegates conference, and there I was elected second assistant secretary of the union, in charge of international relations. Because that time I started speaking French. Okay. From 65 to 1967, I learned French at the Alliance Française in Lagos. So I started speaking French. So second assistant secretary of the union, they just gave me the portfolio of international relations. So any of the friends of that union, that is, from abroad, when they write for anything, the letter will come to me to make recommendations to the General Secretary for action. So that was how by the time the union went to the Civil War, came in around 69, remember. So we couldn't go to conference until 1974 in Kaduna. By 1974, we went to conference and I was elected president of the union, with Wahab Goodluck still remaining the General Secretary. So that was how, that union, at the Kaduna conference of August 1st, 1974, the union changed its name a bit to read Public Works, instead of Public Works, Aerodrome. Aerodrome covered our members in the meteorological services. Mm-hmm. That's why Aerodrome featured me. But now the Congress, the conference, delegates conference asked our union to also go to the private sector construction companies, because we are only operating, our union was by then operating only in the ministries of works all over the country. But because of the improvement we brought to the lives and conditions of work of people in the ministries of works all over the country, the union passed a resolution at that conference in Kaduna that we should now go and start to operate, to organize workers in the private sector, which was seriously being exploited at that time, because their unions were weak, and so that was how I became the president of Public Works Construction, Technical and General Workers Union. The union changed its name to Public Works Construction, Technical and General Workers Union. So that was 1974, and that was why I was with one of my colleagues. We brought trade unionism into Julius Berger, because at that time Julius Berger had over 27,000 workers, but they didn't. Julius Berger would not broke the formation of any union there. So I was working at the construction of the National Arts Theatre in Ikono, in Lagos, and Julius Berger, that Arts Theatre was controlled by Techno Export of Bulgaria. That's the company that built the main structure. But the road network, because it was a Sandfield Lagoon, on which that theatre was built. So the road network around the theatre was given to Julius Berger. That was where we were able to unionize Julius Berger workers in 1975.
Okay. And from there
So then there was the restructuring of trade unions. You remember?
Yeah.
We used to have about 1,000, registered unions at that time. And when the military decided on their so-called intervention, guided intervention within the trade union movement, they started the restructuring with the participation of trade union leaders and the Ministry of Labour officials. And then there were 42 industrial unions that were recommended from the 1,000 or so house unions that used to exist in that time. So, Public Works, Construction, Technical Engineering Workers Union, and 27 other unions were merged together to form the Civil Service Technical Workers Union of Nigeria. So they barred our union that time, this Civil Service Technical Workers Union of Nigeria, to which our union was regrouped with 26 and 27 other unions to form the Civil Service Technical Workers Union of Nigeria. Without, and the construction workers union only left for the private sector. So we're only confined to organizing the workers in the ministries of works all over, all over the country, the meteorological services, and so on and so forth, but not to venture to private sector. So at that inaugural edition of the restructured union, the Civil Service Technical Workers Union, I was elected president. So that's Civil Service Technical Workers Union of Nigeria and 41 other industrial unions were the affiliates of the Nigerian Labour Congress that went to the inaugural conference of the Nigerian Labour Congress at Ibadan on 28 February 1978 at Ibadan, where I was elected the pioneer president of Nigerian Labour Congress. It is used to be 3-year tenure at that time. So 1978 to 1981. 1981 February, I was re-elected for a second term up to February 1984. So after that, I was to go back to the Federal Ministry of Works, but members of our union said, no, I've attacked and had cause to criticize the president, Shagari that time, and others, and they wouldn't like me to be victimized if I return to the Federal Ministry of Works as senior technical officer at that time. So the union created a post of Director of Industrial Relations for me to stay in the union, Civil Service Technical Workers Union of Nigeria. So that was what I was doing from the 1st of March 1984 to 25th October 1986, when I was elected as Secretary General of Organization of African Trade Unity, based with headquarters in Accra. They used to call it the OAU of the workers in Africa.
Okay.
So, and I led that organization for 26 years and 2 months.
Great. Sir, when you look at the period you have spoken about from the beginning up to the point of serving at the continental level,
yeah,
what were your ups and downs?
There were many, but with the help of the Almighty God, we were able to surmount them. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, we used to have 4 unions, 4 national unions that joined together and dissolved themselves to form the Nigerian Labour Congress. The Nigerian Trade Union Congress, NTUC, the Labour Unity Front, NTUC led by Goabullo, Labour Unity Front led by Bakari Modu, Labour leader number 1, Nigerian Workers' Council led by Comrade Ramos, and then the United Labour Congress of Nigeria led by the late Alaji H.P. Adebola. So those 4 unions, national unions, had by law to call their special congresses to dissolve themselves by motion, surrender their certificate before NSC could take off. So we still have, in my first time of office, we had that old division to contend with, but with our own approach to collective leadership, which I and my colleagues are in the Nigerian Labour Congress, encouraged. We are able to quell all attempts of division or whatever throughout my tenure of office for the 6 years in the NLC. So that's one. The second one was, there is the new Nigerian Labour Congress was backed by Decrees 21 and 22 of the military. So one of the things that Decree 21 and 22 helped us to solve is the question of automatic checkoff. So all members of a union, they didn't need to sign a checkoff form before their salaries are checkoff deductions are made from their salaries and sent in bulk to the union. So the military did us a good service by guaranteeing financial independence, for the Nigerian trade union movement, not to depend on foreign financial assistance and foreign interference, which caused division in the past in the Nigerian trade union movement. So in anything bad, there's also an element of good.
Okay.
So we had to contend with that, which was very positive, which allowed union to be able to now to attract, graduates for the first time to come and work in the trade union movement, on a permanent basis. It never happened before, but that gave us the opportunity. For instance, in the Nigerian Labour Congress, we had 2 PhDs. We have 2 MScs in the General Secretariat. Dr. Aziz Osunde, he was the first Assistant General Secretary of the Nigerian Labour Congress, had a PhD in economics and was a lecturer at the University of Lagos before he came to the trade unions, on a permanent basis. We have Dr. Taiwo, who was while the PhD in education, was the Assistant General Secretary of the NFC in charge of education at that time. And we have Aliu Dangio, our founding General Secretary of the NFC, who was, I think it's not lecturer at the Ahmadu Bello University, at the founding General Secretary of the Nigerian Labour Congress. So, and all these things were also replicated in the industrial union that are affiliates of the Nigerian Labour Congress. So this is some of the transformations that we have made, because before, employers in particular used to dominate, the attraction of intellectuals and others to the private sector, and they used to dominate the industrial relations scene. But now that we also were able to attract intellectuals to the trade union movement, we put aside the era of table banging trade unionism. Emerson must go. Okay,
and that is where I would like to go now.
Okay, go ahead.
When you look at unionism under your leadership,
yeah,
in terms of national crisis,
yeah,
was there any that your leadership contended with?
Yes, there was some.
And how was it like?
Well, for example, there was one of the OAU summits in Tripoli, with the Americans and the Europeans were putting pressure on African political leaders not to attend, to deny, Tripoli and to deny Libya and Gaddafi the opportunity to have quorum to host this thing. And Nigeria was one of the countries under Shagari that refused to go. We attacked Shagari for obeying foreign countries at the expense of, the interest of Nigeria and Africa.
African Brotherhood.
So no, why should they dictate to us? They should mind their business. So these are some of the things we really, interface with, and we fully supported the federal government's fight against apartheid in South Africa. We consented for 10% deduction of our salaries for about 3 months for Nigerian workers' salary in order to support our brothers in South Africa fighting apartheid. So, we were able to we were able to support government in situations where we felt they have done what we consider right in the interest of Nigerian nation and Nigerian people. But we also criticize them, when we feel they have done something against the interest of Nigeria and Africa. So that was, we were not what we call in Yoruba Ashobura for the government, to support government, right or wrong. No, we didn't do that. And that practice still continues till now.
Okay, that practice continues.
Yeah.
Till now, you said, look at the labor union then, labor unionism then, and now, with particular reference to how things were done in relation to government and employers of labor, and now they are now. Involvement of labor in politics or pseudo political developments that have to do with the lives of the people generally. If you are to do a kind of comparative analysis, what exactly or how exactly will you paint the picture?
First and foremost, everything evolves. Nigeria of yesterday is not like Nigeria of today. And Nigeria of today will not be like Nigeria of tomorrow, because we don't even know what tomorrow is going to be. So, and like the Yoruba proverb says, so, and Ajawi, laughing parent, you cannot say an ancient hunting dog to trap a modern animal in the forest today. Look, in our own time, we didn't even have the GSM. Today, the world is a 1,000th of a second away. At your fingertips. We didn't have that one. You want to do anything, my people, okay, I want to go on strike or something, you have to use the phone alarm for the old telephone that you may be calling my Duguri from 8 o'clock to 12 noon before the line is two. Now, it's not like that. What is happening anywhere in the world is at your fingertips. You will know it. And if you want any information about anything or anybody, you just use your Google to get any information that you want to get. It is not like that now. So, that shows you how the world has evolved. And then, those who are there today, they have to face those problems too. That is, their members, they cannot say, I don't worry, I will do this. Because maybe our members in my group will say this and that. From their phone, even while you are talking, they can just get in touch with somebody in my group to say what is happening there. So if you are lying, they will tell you are lying.
Straight away.
Straight away. So that is also there. But the role of trade union, as I still insist, the principal role is to defend and protect the interests of workers and the people. So, no matter how the music changes, no matter how the dance changes, that equation must always remain. The moment trade unions fail to protect the interests of their members and their nation, it will become irrelevant.
Trade unionism and politics.
Yeah.
During the crisis of June 12, the unions cutting across all spectrum of life were active in kicking against the annulment. Pengasan Peng almost crumbled the nation. But now That is in history. The labor unions formed a political party.
Mm-hmm.
They call it Labour Party.
Yeah.
How do you see unionists, labor unionists, workers going into forming political parties and playing partisan politics?
First of all, let me say categorically, workers, like any Nigerian, they have a right to belong and to form political parties. Those rights are guaranteed in the Constitution of Nigeria, is guaranteed under international law and human rights declaration of the United Nations.
There has been an issue of late, sir, of saying civil servants cannot go in.
Let me, I say, let me learn.
Okay.
I said they have that right. Okay. They have that right, individually and collectively. But you also have to also remember one of our proverbs that says, "Ikata akala alikakukobe." The way you pluck okra, you can't pluck cocoa that way. But whereas you tear okra from its stem, if you dare tear cocoa pod from the cocoa tree, that cocoa tree will not give you any single pod, in another plant, another harvesting season. So that's why. So it has to be within also, see, individually as members of the union, workers have a right to belong to any party of their life. Because even if the trade union form their own party, they have no right to canalize their member to say willy-nilly
they must belong there.
In doing that, they will be infringing on the human rights of their members. So that's so it is also that even if they don't have their own party, no trade union leadership has a right to canalize its members to support or not support a particular political party or not. But you also have governments that actually also are favorably disposed to the needs of the workers. So naturally, those governments attract the support, if not officially, the tacit support of workers and their unions. Once they are perceived in their actions to be supportive for the growth and development of workers and the economy in their particular areas of jurisdiction. So that is but no trade union leader, no experienced trade union leader will force its members to say, go this way politically or that way politically. But don't forget that workers are not babies. They are not pupils of a primary school. Some of these workers are grandfathers who are as old as the grandfather of the leadership of some union. So as elders like that, you cannot treat people who are experienced and old. You cannot treat them as if like a primary school teacher, directing the pupils. I don't make noise. I don't go this way. No. They are matured and experienced individuals in their own right and heads of their families in their own right. And the fact that they elect a leadership in a union does not make that union leadership, to be lord over them. They have to follow democratic principles in anything they do, in all decisions they take, also in accordance with the specific constitution of their union. So that is, for example, when we took over, there are a number of our members, who wanted to go into partisan politics. But our leadership that time advised that any of our members, whether full-time or non-full-time leaders, who wanted to go into partisan politics should ask for leave of absence from either the union or its employer to go. But the union, at that stage we were, because we were founded in we came in February 1978, and by 1979, remember, the first democratic coming. So we didn't want to be disturbed
or distracted
by politicians, because politicians have a way of disorganizing the unions.
Okay. There was a time we had Pascal Bafiao.
Yeah.
Another time, a point in time that we had Adam Social.
Yes.
When you look at these two and what you have just said, their roles politically, is it in tandem with what you have just spoken about?
The way, let me tell you, I was the pioneer founding president of the current Nigerian Labour Congress. Ali Chiroma was my successor. Then Ali Chiroma was to go for the second term when we were there. Babangida's administration scoffed it and created crisis. Ali Chiroma was re-elected for a second term, and in Benin City, at the Benin Stadium, in Benin, now Ogumda Stadium. Now, while the election was going on, and by Chiroma won, they used the NTA to announce that, and the NBC to announce that Pascal Shaman, Takai Shaman, had been elected president of NSC to succeed Congressman. That was how the crisis started. So that crisis lingered till December of that year, and I was coming. At that time, I was already in Accra. I was coming, almost every quarter from Accra to Lagos to come, and eventually we decided, the leadership of the NSC and the elders, including us who are former leaders of the NSC, decided to ask the NSC to elect Pascal Bafiao, because he was very, very friendly and close to Babangida, so that Babangida's government will take his hands off the NSC. And we are right. You know what happened? Not only did Babangida's government give, if you have been to Abuja, Labour House, Bafiao Labour House, in the 12-story building, the land was given by with a 50 million naira for NSC to build that thing, through that connection between. So later, it was
that never compromised NSC one way or the other.
That allowed NSC to survive, because NSC would have been smashed or permanently divided into 2 or 3. If Obasanjo tried it to create 2 others, including the TUC, well, we succeeded in getting the other one back into the NLC. And TUC, by the grace of God, one day they also come back to the NLC, because governments always fear the unity of trade unions.
Okay.
So Adams was deputy to Pascal Bafiao. So he became, and later, when he has done his own 8 years, but by that time this was from 3 years to 4 years, he did 2 times 8 years, and went back home to the Edo State, and later decided to be in politics.
Okay. Let's look at the Labour Party.
Yeah.
Is the Labour Party for labor, for workers, and where is the Labour Party today in the political affairs of Nigeria?
First, going back to memory lane, Labour Party was founded and formed by the Nigeria Labour Congress, and I was one of those who called for the information. So I'm not going to shy away, but the foundation is the most important structure, important part of any structure. The person who was the pioneer president of chairman of the Labour Party, Comrade Uwanyawo, and the pioneer general secretary, they really converted, usurped that party as if it was their private property. To the extent that instead of organizing membership, using even their trade union structures to organize more members into the party, they didn't do all that, and allowed rejected politicians in the main political parties who are rejected for one position or the other to buy their way into the Labour Party, to be candidate of Labour Party for the post they were rejected in other political parties. That was how the dynamism, the structure, and everything that for which the Labour Party was founded, that's how they destroyed it. I may bold to say that Mwaya, the chairman and the founding general secretary, is late now, he died some time ago, they destroyed that party. Now, even the NSC just succeeded in getting the certificate of that party back. And it is the intention of the NSC to go all over again, to now build the party from the ground in every
world
level down to the national level. And our advice is that when they do that, they should start from, you don't start climbing the palm tree from the top. You should go, you climb any tree, not only the palm tree, from the bottom. We should go to the bottom and start to display, what the union is all about and how the union will bring, development and everything from the grassroots, to the national level. Before you talk about, contesting for the highest position as president of the country. So that's in the works now.
Now, let's look at the politics of today.
Yeah.
We have seen the role Labour should play in politics, workers, even to the extent of forming a political party, just trying to resuscitate the party according to you.
Yeah.
Now, look at the politics of today in Nigeria. As a veteran unionist, labor unionist, would this have been the democracy that labor unions were agitating for prior the advent of the present democratic experience?
Not. It is not. Certainly not. And I am heartbroken as an individual to see that the Nigeria we fought for, because Labour led the struggle for independence of Nigeria. A lot of people forget that. Even our present politicians forget that. Michael Imodu, that still remains our Labour leader #1, was on the NCNC delegation 1947 with Abat Macaulay, going around the country by rail to mobilize Nigerians to call for independence. Michael Imodu and Abat Macaulay died, in that tour of the country, 1947. The longest strike of 1945, the 45 days general strike, which the late Michael Imodu called for, the one we call the COLA, cost of living allowance. Immediately after the Second World War, things started, the prices skyrocketed, commodities, and so on and so forth, a lot of inflation. That is what led to the longest nationwide strike in Nigeria, 45 days, for which he was sentenced to internal exile, Michael Imodu. And remember also the Enugu coal miners strike, 1949. Those two actions triggered the struggle for Nigeria's independence that eventually led to independence, in October 1960. A lot of that. But what is happening today, to now come to a question? Nigeria, up to today, is called Federal Republic of Nigeria. What is federal in this? With the military intervention, of 15 January 1966, up to the time they decided to go back to barracks, our constitution has been bastardized by the military. What we have today is an illegal and unconstitutional constitution.
Unconstitutional constitution.
Because it was written by the military. It was not even subjected to the referendum by the people of Nigeria. And most of the powers devolved in the federal constitution to states and regions or states, as the case was, and local government have been taken away. That today, any governor has to troop every end of the month to Abuja with a cap in hand to whatever they do to that person. It's not supposed to be that. So, for Nigeria to actually move forward, all this northern dominated, no. If we have a truly federal constitution, anybody can dominate, can be president. Because development will be going on in the states, and the state will be competing. Look at what we have a truly federal constitution. Even the western region and the northern region, eastern region, and later Midwest, they had their agent general in the UK before we had independence. You remember? We have the Nigerian representative in London. These regions also had their own agent general. They call them agent general, representing the interests of their region in economic, in looking after their students, this and that, and their affairs in London. But today, most of the powers that actually should belong to the have been given back to the federal. There is no other federal this thing as the work federalism that we have in Nigeria today. And most of our problems like corruption, greed, and a lot of other vices that are happening today is due to the lopsided federation that we have today. So for Nigeria to be stable, for Nigeria to remain united, for Nigeria to be strong economically, politically, and be one of the leading countries in the world, we must have a new, truly federal constitution and return to parliamentary democracy. Look at the amount of money we are spending on politicians today. More than 70% of our this thing goes to further the interest of politicians instead of giving us education, good health, industries and so on. Most of our industries have collapsed. We don't have good stable power supply, and so on and so forth. It's due to that fact. So those are saying who are fighting who should be president. As long as it is under this current warped anti-people constitution, Nigeria will continue to be unstable, and it might lead eventually to secession and a lot of other things in Nigeria. So my advice is that within the less than 1 year that is before the next election, the National Assembly could set up a committee to rewrite the constitution based on all the constitutions we have done and give us a truly federal constitution so that Nigeria will remain united, Nigeria will remain peaceful, the action of the corruption and everything will end, because the system we are running under this pseudo-federal constitution imposed by the military on Nigeria, will not carry Nigeria anywhere but disaster. And we must avoid it.
Okay. Nigerian workers seem to know the problem Nigeria as a nation is facing. Maybe they also have solutions or can think or prefer solutions. But they are not right there at the apex when it comes to political power. And the political will to see some of these things through. Maybe that might have been responsible for the formation of Labour Party in the first instance. But looking at the present arrangement in Nigeria politically, do you think any worker or any trade unionist have what it takes in terms of monetary power to gain power at the presidential level in Nigeria of today?
At any level, including local government, don't go far. As long as this warped anti-people, anti-Nigerian constitution we are running, imposed by the military, sustained by the political elites of all the parties, as long as that continues, Nigeria will continue to be unstable. Corruption will be at its peak, whether you set up 100 EFCC. Then there will be poverty, general poverty, or pauperization of the people. In fact, they say Nigeria is now the world capital of poverty. Can you imagine? With all the human natural resources we have. There's no reason why Nigeria should be poor. There's no reason why Nigeria should not have free education from all the resources that we have underground as human beings and so on and so forth. So, what is the cause? Is this constitution?
So Nigerian labor leaders, unionists, and workers are giving up.
They have left curing leprosy. They are just putting the person for crow. That is they do that. Unless we attack that this, there will be secession in the near future. There will be instability in the near future, because a stage will come when Nigeria people will be able not to take anything anymore, and there will be crisis, and they will not be able to manage. All the people saying this and that. Atiku has now emerged through as a PDP this thing. In about less than 10 days, APC candidate will emerge. We, the Nigerian people, will demand from them, if we don't have a new, truly federal constitution before the next election, they cannot go to places. And it can be done.
Okay. A lot of people believe that what you are saying can be done, like so many other things could have been done.
Yeah.
But the fear is, you have spoken in passing about it, corruption in the land. A lot of people will say, why are you blaming politicians? Politicians cannot steal public money without the support of civil or public servants. Just a few days ago, we learned of an accountant general who was alleged to have stolen as much as 80 billion.
170.
And another one added, going to about 117. Later, 170 billion.
Yes.
And of course, he's also pointing accusing finger at Minister of Finance. Workers and corruption in Nigeria today. A lot of people believe that they are like Siamese twins. Can we separate them?
Look, it's not a question of separating Siamese twins. It's a question of giving life to Nigeria and Nigerians. And the only way to make Nigeria work is actually having a truly federal constitution and going back to parliamentary democracy.
And how we address what workers are also doing, what workers are stealing as much as politicians are doing. Is that the problem of the constitution?
It's the problem of the constitution.
How?
Because all that money that this man is alleged to have stolen, about 80% of that should have gone to the states, to the old states. True or false? 80% of that money could have gone to local government and states to develop them, to create jobs, to create employment, and a lot of other things. So if it is not done and it's made in such a lopsided way to be in the hands of a cabal and a few, whether they are in government or outside government, because there is also in the public sector and private sector too. Because we can't do all that without the cooperation and connivance of both public and private, including banks.
Okay. Agitation for minimum wage.
Yes.
Better conditions of service. A lot of people believe that rather than asking for increase in wages, workers should be asking for improved economy that will
Professor.
Our time fast spent. What do you see in the future of Nigeria? With all this scenario,
the future of Nigeria lies in doing the right things in the right way. True federalism, a constitution that guarantees true federalism and parliamentary system of government, so that we are not going to spend the bulk of money for our own present and future development in funding political careers and pockets of our politicians. That is the only way.
That is the only way.
That's the only way.
Well, so far so good, unless because today our guest has said the only way is to go back to parliamentary system of government.
No. True federalism
True federalism
in our constitution.
In our new constitution.
Yes.
And new system of government, parliamentary system of government that are suggested. Yeah. We want to appreciate you for being on this program.
Thank you so much.
Indeed, once a comrade, forever a comrade. Once a trade unionist, forever a trade unionist. He was the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress from 1978 to 1984, and he led the Organization of African Trade Union Unity for over 20 years.
26 years.
For 26 years. We appreciate you, sir.
Thanks so much.
Until next week, when we'll be coming your way with another edition of this program. Akinola Olabi is my name. I say thanks for being there always. Bye-bye for now.